The sound of the front door creaking open interrupts the silence of the house. I step inside, exhausted from another long day at work. The eerie stillness that greets me is unsettling, but I brush it off, assuming my wife, Emily, is out with friends or running errands. The faint smell of her perfume lingers in the air, a haunting reminder of the life we built together, now seemingly on the verge of crumbling. As I walk into the kitchen, I notice a single wine glass on the counter, lipstick smudged on the rim. I pour myself a drink, letting the warmth of the whiskey soothe my nerves. The past few months have been a whirlwind of confusion and betrayal, ever since I discovered Emily's infidelity. Despite everything, I chose to forgive her, hoping to salvage what remained of our relationship. But tonight, something feels different. The sound of a car pulling up outside draws my attention. I peer through the window, seeing a black sedan idling in the driveway. My heart races as a man steps out, his face obscured by the shadows. A wine glass on the counter looks up to the door with purpose, a bat clutched tightly in his hand. Panic sets in as he pounds on the door, shouting obscenities. "Where is she? Where's that bitch?" His voice is filled with rage, each word a dagger to my already fragile heart. I freeze, unsure of what to do. The man continues to bang on the door, his shouts growing louder. I grab the nearest object for defense, a kitchen knife, and cautiously approach the door. My mind races with questions. Who is this man? What does he want with Emily? The door bursts open, splintering under the force of his blows. The man storms into the house, his eyes wild with fury. He sees me standing there, knife in hand, and laughs bitterly. "You must be her husband," he sneers. "Do you have any idea what your wife has been up to?" I tighten my grip on the knife, my voice shaking. "Who are you? What do you want?" "She owes me," he growls. "A lot of money. And she's not paying up." I blink in shock, trying to process his words. "What are you talking about? Emily doesn't owe anyone money." The man's expression darkens. "She's been working for me, if you can call it that. Your wife is a prostitute, and not a very good one. She's racked up quite a debt." The world tilts on its axis. The knife slips from my hand, clattering to the floor. "That's not possible," I whisper, more to myself than to him. He steps closer, menace radiating from him. "Oh, it's very possible." "Now, where is she?" "I don't know," I admit, my voice hollow. "She's not here." He studies me for a moment, then nods. "You tell her that she has 1 week to pay up. If she doesn't, I'll be back. And next time, I won't be so nice." With that, he turns and leaves, slamming the door behind him. I stand there in stunned silence, the weight of his words crushing me. The truth I've been denying for so long finally hits me. Emily's infidelity was not just a mistake. It was a symptom of a much darker secret. The sound of the front door opening again snaps me out of my daze. Emily walks in, a forced smile on her face. "Hey, honey. How was your day?" I stare at her, a mixture of anger and sorrow bubbling inside me. "We need to talk," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. She looks at me, confusion and fear flickering in her eyes. "What's wrong? Who was that man?" I demand, my voice rising. "The one who just broke into our house, looking for you." Her face pales, and she takes a step back. I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie to me, Emily," I snap. "He told me everything. About your debts. About your work." Tears well up in her eyes, and she sinks into a chair. "I'm so sorry, Jack. I never wanted you to find out like this." "Why, Emily?" I ask, my voice breaking. "Why did you do this?" She sobs, covering her face with her hands. "I didn't have a choice. We were struggling, and I thought I could help. But it got out of control." I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "We could have worked through our problems together. But you lied to me. You betrayed me." "I know," she whispers. I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough, I say, my anger simmering. You put us both in danger. And now, I have to fix this. What are you going to do? She asks, her voice trembling. I'm going to make things right, I reply. And then, we're done. I want a divorce. Her eyes widen in shock, but she doesn't argue. She knows there's no coming back from this. As she cries softly, I walk to the window, staring out into the night. The path ahead is unclear, but one thing is certain, I will not let her betrayal destroy me. I have my own connections, my own resources. And I will use them to ensure she never hurts me again. This is just the beginning. I wake up to the sound of birds chirping outside my window, the morning light filtering through the blinds. Emily is already up, moving quietly around the house, avoiding me. I can't bring myself to look at her, the weight of her betrayal still fresh in my mind. I need to clear my head, figure out what to do next. I grab my phone and dial a number I haven't called in years. After a few rings, a familiar voice answers. Hey, Jack. Long time no see. Tom, I need your help, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Tom and I go way back, having grown up together. He now works as a private investigator, a career choice that always seemed a bit too fitting for his inquisitive nature. If anyone can help me get to the bottom of this mess, it's him. What's going on? He asks, concern creeping into his voice. It's Emily. She's been lying to me. And now, there's a guy threatening us. I need to find out everything about her secret life. Can you help? Of course, Tom replies without hesitation. Meet me at the diner in an hour. I hang up and head out the door, not bothering to tell Emily where I'm going. She doesn't deserve an explanation. The diner is a small, cozy place filled with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and frying bacon. Tom is already seated in a booth at the back, a steaming mug of coffee in front of him. He looks up as I approach, his expression a mix of curiosity and concern. Jack, sit down, he says, motioning to the seat opposite him. I slide into the booth, and for a moment, we sit in silence. Tom finally breaks the tension. Tell me everything. I recount the events of the previous night, the man with the bat, and the shocking revelations about Emily. Tom listens intently, his face growing darker with each detail. Jesus, Jack. This is serious. But don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of it. First, I need to know everything you know about her life outside of your marriage. I think back to the little signs I had ignored over the past few months. The late nights, the mysterious phone calls, the sudden need for privacy. She started coming home late, saying she was working extra hours. Then, there were the phone calls she would take outside, saying it was just work stuff. I thought she was just stressed. Tom nods, taking notes. I'll start with her phone records and see if I can track down this guy who came to your house. In the meantime, you need to stay vigilant. Don't confront her directly until we have more information. Okay, I agree, feeling a sense of relief for the first time in days. Thanks, Tom. I don't know what I'd do without you. We'll get through this, Jack. I promise. I head back home, my mind racing with thoughts of what Tom might uncover. Emily is sitting at the kitchen table, her eyes red and puffy from crying. I ignore her and head to my office, needing to focus on something other than her betrayal. A few hours later, my phone buzzes with a text from Tom, meet me at my office. I've got something. I grab my keys and head out, my heart pounding with anticipation. Tom's office is in a nondescript building downtown. I take the elevator up to the 3rd floor and find him waiting for me. Come in, he says, closing the door behind me. You're not going to believe this. He hands me a stack of papers, phone records, and financial statements. As I sift through them, a sick feeling settles in my stomach. There are dozens of calls to unknown numbers, large withdrawals from our joint account, and payments to shady businesses. Emily's been living a double life, Tom says, his voice grim. She's involved with some dangerous people. One of the numbers she's been calling frequently belongs to a guy named Carlos. He's a known criminal involved in human trafficking and prostitution. I stare at the papers, unable to believe what I'm seeing. What do we do now? We need to gather more evidence, Tom replies. I've set up a surveillance team to follow her. We'll get to the bottom of this, but it's going to take time. As I leave Tom's office, my mind is a whirlwind of emotions. Anger, betrayal, and a burning desire for justice. I can't believe the woman I loved could do this to me. But one thing is clear, I won't rest until I've made her pay for what she's done. Back home, I find Emily sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the TV. I sit down beside her, my mind made up. We need to talk, I say, my voice cold and detached. She looks at me, fear and guilt etched on her face. Jack, please, I'm so sorry. Save it, I cut her off. I know everything. About Carlos, about the money, about what you've been doing. And I'm going to make sure you pay for every bit of it. Tears stream down her face, but I feel nothing. Jack, please, I can explain. Explain it to the cops, I say, standing up. Because that's where you're headed. Tom's gathering all the evidence we need. Your lies, your deceit, they end now. She breaks down, sobbing uncontrollably, but I turn away, no longer moved by her tears. I've been a fool for too long, and now it's time to take control. As the days pass, Tom's surveillance team uncovers more of Emily's dark dealings. The web of lies she spun is vast and tangled, but with every piece of evidence, we're closer to bringing her down. One evening, Tom calls me with an update. Jack, we've got enough. It's time to confront her. I gather the evidence, feeling a sense of grim determination. Emily's betrayal has shattered our lives, but now it's my turn to take back control. I walk into the living room, where she's sitting, and lay the papers in front of her. Emily, it's over. We have everything. You're going to prison, and I'm getting my life back. She looks at the papers, her face pale. Jack, please, don't do this. I love you. You should have thought of that before, I say, my voice hard. Goodbye, Emily. The police arrive a short while later, and I watch as they lead her away, her pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. The woman I once loved is gone, replaced by a stranger I can barely recognize. As I stand alone in the empty house, I feel a sense of closure. The road ahead won't be easy, but at least I'm free from her lies. And with Tom's help, I'll make sure Emily pays for every bit of pain she's caused. This is just the beginning of my journey. A journey of healing, of reclaiming my life, and of ensuring that those who betray me never get away with it. I wake up the next morning feeling a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Emily is gone, and the house feels eerily quiet without her. The police took her away last night, and now it's just me and the ghosts of our past. I sit up in bed, running a hand through my hair, trying to shake off the lingering dream of happier times. My phone buzzes on the nightstand, jolting me back to reality. It's Tom. Hey, Jack. You okay? I don't know, I admit. It's a lot to process. Listen, I have some news, Tom says. We've traced more of Emily's contacts. There's a guy named Victor who's deeply involved in the same network. He might be able to lead us to Carlos. Victor? I ask, intrigued. What's his role in all this? From what we've gathered, he's a middleman, Tom explains. He handles transactions and connections between the clients and the workers. If we can get to him, we can find out more about Carlos and his operations. I'm in, I say without hesitation. What's the plan? Meet me at the warehouse on 5th Street, Tom replies. We'll go over the details there. I arrive at the warehouse, a rundown building on the outskirts of town, and find Tom waiting inside with a couple of his associates. They're gathered around a table covered in maps and documents. Jack, this is Sarah and Mike, Tom says, introducing his team. They've been helping me track down these criminals. Nice to meet you, I say, shaking their hands. Thanks for your help. Let's get started, Tom says, motioning for us to gather around the table. We've been tracking Victor's movements for the past few days. He frequents a club downtown called the Velvet Room. It's a front for illegal activities, but it's also where he conducts most of his business. So, what's the plan? I ask, eager to get moving. Mike and Sarah will handle surveillance outside the club, Tom explains. You and I will go inside and see if we can find Victor. We need to be discreet, though. If he gets wind of what we're up to, he could disappear. Got it, I say, feeling a surge of adrenaline. Let's do this. The Velvet Room is a dimly lit club, the air thick with smoke and the thumping bass of electronic music. Tom and I blend in with the crowd, keeping a low profile as we make our way to the bar. Keep an eye out for Victor, Tom whispers, scanning the room. We nurse our drinks, watching the patrons as they dance and mingle. After what feels like an eternity, I spot a man fitting Victor's description, a tall, muscular guy with slicked back hair and a scar running down his cheek. He's sitting in a corner booth, talking animatedly to a couple of shady-looking characters. There, I say, nudging Tom. That's him. Tom nods, and we make our way over to the booth, trying to look casual. As we approach, one of Victor's companions stands up, blocking our path. Can I help you? He asks, his tone threatening. We're here to see Victor, Tom says calmly. We have some business to discuss. Victor looks up, his eyes narrowing as he sizes us up. And who are you? Friends of Emily's, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. We need to talk. Victor's expression changes, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. He motions for his companion to step aside. Sit down, he says, his voice laced with suspicion. We slide into the booth, the tension palpable. What do you want? Victor asks, leaning back and crossing his arms. We know about your operation, Tom says bluntly. And we want information on Carlos. Victor chuckles, shaking his head. You've got guts, I'll give you that. But why should I tell you anything? Because if you don't, we'll make sure the cops have enough evidence to take you down, I say, my voice cold. Emily's already in custody. It's only a matter of time before she starts talking. Victor's eyes flash with anger, but he remains composed. All right, fine. What do you want to know? Everything, Tom says. Where we can find him, what his next moves are, everything. Victor sighs, glancing around to make sure no one is listening. Carlos is a slippery one, but he has a few safe houses around the city. He's been laying low since Emily got arrested. There's a warehouse near the docks that he uses for meetings. That's your best bet. Thank you, I say, standing up. But know this, if you're lying, we'll be back. Victor smirks, but there's a hint of fear in his eyes. I'm not stupid. Now get out of here before you attract any more attention. Tom and I leave the club, the cool night air a welcome relief from the oppressive atmosphere inside. What now? I ask as we walk to the car. Now we stake out that warehouse, Tom says. If Carlos is there, we'll catch him in the act. We spend the next few nights watching the warehouse, taking shifts to ensure we don't miss anything. The tension is unbearable, but I know this is the only way to get the answers I need. On the third night, our patience pays off. A black SUV pulls up to the warehouse, and a group of men get out, including one who matches Carlos's description. Tom signals for Sarah and Mike, who are parked nearby, and we move in. We approach the warehouse cautiously, our footsteps silent on the pavement. Tom picks the lock on the door, and we slip inside, the darkness swallowing us. Spread out, Tom whispers. Find Carlos. I move through the shadows, my heart pounding in my chest. The warehouse is filled with crates and machinery, creating a maze of hiding spots. I hear voices up ahead and follow the sound, my hand gripping the gun Tom insisted I carry. I round a corner and see Carlos standing with his back to me, talking to a couple of his men. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to come. "Carlos," I say, stepping into the light. He turns, surprise and anger flashing across his face. "Who the hell are you?" "The husband of the woman you ruined," I reply, raising the gun. "And I'm here to make you pay." Carlos sneers, but there's a hint of fear in his eyes. "You think you can scare me? You're out of your league, buddy." "Maybe," I say, my voice steady. "But I'm not alone." At that moment, Tom, Sarah, and Mike step out of the shadows, their guns trained on Carlos and his men. "It's over, Carlos," Tom says. "You're surrounded." Carlos glances around, realizing he's outnumbered. All right," he says, raising his hands. "What do you want?" "Information," Tom replies. "And you're going to give it to us." We tie up Carlos and his men, making sure they can't escape. Tom and Sarah start questioning them, while I keep watch, my mind racing with thoughts of revenge and justice. Hours later, we have everything we need. Carlos spills his secrets, revealing the full extent of his criminal network and his plans. It's more than enough to bring him down, and to ensure Emily's involvement is fully exposed. As we leave the warehouse, I feel a sense of closure. The woman I once loved is gone, replaced by a stranger who betrayed me. But now, with Carlos and his network dismantled, I can start to rebuild my life. This is just the beginning. The road ahead is long and uncertain, but I'm ready to face whatever comes next. With Tom and his team by my side, I know I can overcome anything. And as I walk into the dawn, I leave the darkness behind, determined to create a new future free from the shadows of the past. The days following Carlos's arrest are a whirlwind of police interrogations, media attention, and legal proceedings. The full extent of the criminal network is laid bare, and Emily's involvement is undeniable. Despite everything, I can't shake the feeling that there's more to the story, an underlying deception that I have yet to uncover. One evening, as I sit alone in my house, the emptiness surrounding me, my phone buzzes with a message from Tom, "Come to the station. We need to talk. It's urgent." I drive to the police station, my mind racing with possibilities. When I arrive, Tom meets me at the entrance, his expression grim. "What's going on?" I ask, my heart pounding. "Jack, we've uncovered something," Tom says, leading me to a small interrogation room. "You need to see this." Inside the room, a detective is waiting with a folder in his hands. He introduces himself as Detective Harris and gestures for me to sit down. "Mr. Johnson, we've been going through Emily's phone records and financial transactions," Harris begins. "We found something disturbing." He opens the folder and slides a series of documents across the table. I glance at them, my eyes widening as I recognize the handwriting. It's a series of letters, each one addressed to Carlos. These letters, Harris explains, indicate that Emily wasn't just involved in Carlos's network. She was actively helping him launder money and manage his operations. But there's more. These letters suggest that she wasn't coerced or threatened. She was a willing participant. My mind reels as I try to process the information. But why? Why would she do this? "We believe she was in a romantic relationship with Carlos," Tom says quietly. "She wasn't just working for him, she was in love with him." The room spins, and I grip the edge of the table to steady myself. No. That can't be true. She said she loved me. She said she was sorry. She was playing both sides, Harris says. Using you to cover her tracks while she continued her affair with Carlos. The realization hits me like a punch to the gut. Emily's betrayal runs deeper than I ever imagined. She wasn't just unfaithful, she was using me, manipulating me to protect her criminal lover. "What do we do now?" I ask, my voice hollow. "We need you to confront her," Tom says. "Get her to confess. We need a full confession to solidify the case against her and Carlos." I agree, numb with shock and betrayal. The next day, I visit Emily in jail, where she's been held since her arrest. As I sit across from her in the visitation room, I can see the fear and desperation in her eyes. "Jack," she says, her voice trembling. "Please, you have to believe me. I never wanted any of this to happen." I take a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "Emily, I need the truth. Did you love Carlos?" She looks away, tears streaming down her face. I did. But it was a mistake. I was lost, and he took advantage of that." "Don't lie to me," I snap, my anger boiling over. "I've seen the letters, Emily. You weren't just involved, you were in love with him." She sobs, covering her face with her hands. "Yes, I loved him. But I loved you too, Jack." I was confused. I didn't know what to do. "Did you ever love me?" I ask, my voice breaking. "Or was I just a pawn in your game?" She looks up, her eyes filled with regret. "I did love you. But I was weak. Carlos offered me excitement, danger. I got caught up in it, and I couldn't find a way out. You betrayed me," I say, my voice cold. "You used me to protect him. How could you do that to me?" "I'm so sorry," she whispers. "I never wanted to hurt you." "It's too late for apologies," I reply, standing up. "You destroyed everything we had." As I walk out of the room, I hear her crying, but I feel nothing. The woman I once loved is gone, replaced by a stranger who betrayed me in the worst possible way. Back at the station, I give Tom and Harris the confirmation they need. Emily's confession, combined with the evidence, ensures that she and Carlos will face justice. In the days that follow, I file for divorce and begin the process of rebuilding my life. The pain of Emily's betrayal is still raw, but with each passing day, I feel a little stronger. One evening, as I sit on the porch, staring at the sunset, Tom joins me. He hands me a beer and sits down beside me. "You did the right thing, Jack," he says. "It's going to be tough, but you'll get through this." "I know," I reply, taking a sip of the beer. "Thanks for everything, Tom. I couldn't have done it without you." "That's what friends are for," he says with a smile. "And hey, if you ever need anything, you know where to find me." We sit in comfortable silence, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, I feel a glimmer of hope. As the night falls, I make a promise to myself. I'll move forward, rebuild my life, and never let anyone betray me again. Emily's deception has shattered our relationship, but it's also given me the strength to stand on my own. This is the end of one chapter, but the beginning of a new one. And with each step I take, I leave the past behind, determined to create a better future free from the shadows of deceit.